Anyway, I did want to point out, because I titled this "What Everyone Missed in the Biden-Trump Debate," and I said that I wanted to talk about something that gets missed. This is true for any debate, guys. You have to look at the big picture, what's actually going on here, because if you don't, then you're still embedded in a system that's destroying itself. Politicians, manipulators, but politicians want you to have what's called an external locus of control. The locus of control it's internal or external. What this means is, what do you view as the primary cause of your situation? In other words, so here's my situation in life. Who's primarily responsible for my situation in life? Is that external to me or internal? Am I primarily responsible for my situation in life, or is my situation in life primarily the result of factors that are external to me? Which is, now, in reality, it's a combination. It's a combination of things you do and things that happen to you from outside. So in reality, it's a combination. Is it mainly you, or is it factors outside of you? Politicians and manipulators want you to have an external locus of control, meaning that you view things outside of yourself as primarily responsible for your situation in life. Why? Because that keeps you focusing on, oh, well, in order to change those things out there, I need to get other people to do things and to make these changes so that my situation is better. And that's how they keep you actually dependent on them. Anything good in your life, they want you to view them as the source of that, their party. And anything bad in your life, they want that to be the fault of their political opponents. And so if they manage to convince you their party is the source of good in your life and the other party is the source of bad in your life, then you become part of their group. The situation that you used to have is it was kind of healthy. You can have a kind of progressive force in society and a conservative force in society. I'm not talking about progressives and conservatives. Those mean different things right now. I'm talking about, it's good to conserve the things that are good and to make progress as well. So a progressive force and a conservative force and so on. And so those two forces in a healthy society work together and make the society better, because you preserve the things that work, you make changes where necessary and so on. And what happens when things polarize, when things start to polarize, once you've defined your group as not the good of everything, but the opponent of that group, the enemy of that group over there, what happens is you don't need to do anything anymore, because the groups will go farther and farther apart. Once you've defined your group as the enemy of that group and ultimately hostile towards that group, these things will push themselves further and further apart until you no longer want a leader who's good for everyone. You want a leader who's going to be the champion of your group and who's going to be the ultimate enemy of that other group. We're right in the middle of that. And I'm putting all this out, ladies and gentlemen, because unless people become what are called hard targets, learn how to not be manipulated, you guys are doomed. You're just going to get farther and farther apart. You're going to get farther and farther apart. You're going to elect increasingly radical or completely incompetent leaders. And it's just going to go back and forth until everything is destroyed. In other words, what I'm saying is this: when you look and you're going, seriously, Biden and Trump, how are these the options? That's because you have a population that has been over generations duped into being completely incapable of thinking any other way. And you're kind of stuck in this. You're kind of stuck until enough people break out of that, mentality and that system. You are all kinds of screwed. And it doesn't matter who wins the next election or the election after that or election after that. You're going to keep getting further and further and further apart from everyone else until inevitably the entire system breaks down and everyone destroys each other. Just so everyone knows, by the way, you are much healthier psychologically if you have an internal locus of control. Even if there's all sorts of bad things that have happened to you in life, you're way better off if you think that I am primarily responsible for how things turn out in my life. Because then when something goes wrong, it's, oh, what do I do? What do I do to fix this situation in life? If you're just the helpless victim of everything else that happens, all you ever do is, oh, will you change this for me, Mr. Politician? Will you change this for me? And that's what they use to keep you undyingly loyal to their group. And what happens is once you become significantly polarized, they can actually define your group. They can define your group and what someone in your group does. AP, did you know this? The primary factor in decisions that people do, like voting and so on, is not even their self-interest. It's not, hey, what will help me most? It's what would someone in my group do? This is weird stuff, right? In other words, when a Muslim or a Christian or something like that, or a communist or whoever goes to a voting booth or makes a decision, the biggest factor is, what does someone in my group do? What does someone in my group do? How would someone in my group, whatever group that may be, how would someone in my group vote? That's the biggest factor in the decisions like this that they make. What that means is, a manipulator who has made you completely loyal to their system can define someone in your group, can define what someone in your group does, and you'll do it, even if it's against your own interest, even if it's against the interests of your group. If they simply define your group, could be a race, could be a religion, whatever it is, someone in your group does this, votes this way. You can get to the point where it can be you can be absolutely destroying your group, and you'll still keep doing it. If the threat is, well, if you don't do this, then you're not really part of the group. If you don't do this, then you're not really black. If you don't do this, then you're not really Christian. If you don't do this, then you're not really whatever it may be. And so the easiest way to mass manipulate millions and millions of people is to get them to think that someone in their group has to do this, and that if you don't, you'll be expelled from the group. And so this goes back to the polarization. Once various groups are polarized, let's say, the reason they will become more polarized is, think, if you have a group everyone here in here is part of your group, but you've defined your group as being against the other group over there. Then within that group, you have people who are closer to the enemy and people who are further away. People will eventually start climbing over each other to be further and further away from the group to demonstrate their loyalty to the group. They show they're more against this group. And that's why a politician is not going to be acceptable if he's a little too friendly with the other side. And the result is, just by this will just happen. These two groups will push each other further and further away until you have absolutely nothing in common, hate the sight of each other, and how do you even have a society? So the point is, ladies and gentlemen, your society, your civilization is being destroyed before your eyes. All the stuff we watch, this political contest or this election, these are all symptoms of something much greater that is going on right now. And if you do not figure out a way to fix it, again, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who you pick. You may win. Your guy may win an election. Your guy may lose an election. You are absolutely doomed unless you get the heck out of this.